The whole world needs to know P. Michael and Lenny the Boss.
I have a kids real estate and financial literacy academy. So we teach the kids how to write smart goals so they can live a designed life.
Teaching them about entrepreneurship in general, but through the lens of a barber.
Education system, unfortunately, is broken and is not teaching it.
I'm not going to say it's broken. They have a curriculum that is aged. It needs to be updated.
I want to tap into other countries that don't have the privilege of education. So when we talk about Africa, we talking about one clipper in the station. And I seen a razor that looked like it was used on everybody.
If I can teach an 11-year-old, 12-year-old mindset, then everything else is a breeze.
He's losing his hair because he's going through chemotherapy. He's 13 years old. And I'm looking at the kid, and he's smiling. I said, come here, you want to hold these clippers and start doing it? He was like, yeah. So his mom was like, well, let's slow down. Let's wait till the treatment finish. A couple weeks go by. I text mom, hey, mom, he ready? I didn't even think to call you.
Oh, shit.
So we're back with the next episode of the NJCS, NJ Content Studios show. And we're really excited to have you guys because we feel like you fit a lot of the key criteria we're going for. You guys are actively creating content on a regular basis. You guys have successful startups that we're going to get into exactly what each of them do, but you're both doing the entrepreneur thing. You have unique businesses that are social impact and community oriented, which I think are much more exciting and interesting than just the run-of-the-mill business. And you guys are both a delight to talk to, honestly.
Oh, thank you, man.
Appreciate that, bro.
You know,
Appreciate that.
I met each of you, we've had a few exchanges through social and email, whatever, but we met in person just one other time, each of us. I guess in your case, Lenny, it was twice, I guess.
Yeah.
And each time I was like, those guys are great, man. Those guys are great. Like, they got the act together. So I was like, the whole world needs to know P. Michael and Lenny the Boss.
Let's go, whole world. Yo, shout out to the world, man.
you.
Shout out to the whole world, bro.
Shout out to the whole world. And then Steven's just meeting you guys now.
Yeah, I'm my first time. He's shouting out the world, and I'm with him. Like, let's go, buddy. Let's go.
But that's that entrepreneurial spirit, right?
No,
It's
fact.
that hustle.
They listening.
That's the 200 million followers we got going on right here.
They're kind of collectively,
200 million.
Yeah.
right?
Is that right?
That's
Is that right? Are we talking in the
Yeah,
future?
we're talking to 200 million people right now.
Tell me more.
200 million people
fact.
right now.
Post it to YouTube.
Listen, 200 million.
All right. So for the rest of the world that we just shouted out that don't know you guys yet, let's have, first of all, if you could each introduce yourself, where you're from, your business name, and then we'll take a little time to explore each of your businesses. So P, why don't you go first?
All right, cool, man. I'm P. Michael, barber by trade, now a barber teacher. Have a nonprofit. It's called the P. Michael Boone Foundation. And one of the initiatives we have is the Junior Barber Academy. We started that in 2016, right in North Philly, right inside my barbershop, teaching kids how to cut hair and just teaching them about entrepreneurship in general, but through the lens of a barber.
Amazing. And then now, what is the scope and size of the reach of the foundation today?
Yeah, so today we have reached over 6,000 young people, teaching them the craft of barber and teaching them the entrepreneurship model, the financial literacy behind being a barber. And we are also now in Johannesburg, South Africa, looking to open up in Ghana this year, 2025, December. We're looking to open up in Ghana.
The Barbering Academy.
The Barbering Academy. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. We're going to really dig into that. But first, before we do, now Lenny, AKA Lenny the Boss.
Boom, 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 boom. Hey, so I have a kids real estate and financial literacy academy.
Love it.
And what we do is we partner up with school districts, we partner up with youth groups, and we bring a 4-pillar program to them. And the pillars cover, pillar 1 is all about mindset and confidence building. We all know, regardless to what you want to do, especially in this great studio, you have to have the right mindset and the right confidence to make it happen. The second pillar is all about entrepreneurship. So we teach them everything about it, how you create a business by solving a problem. We actually do role playing in the classes. I provide the youth with scripts, and really great pillar there. The third pillar is the financial literacy piece, which is a very full deck. I usually work with the clients and send them a list on what they want the students to be, what we want to cover. But I always have a strong concentration on credit because I just believe if your credit is good, life is just a little better for you. Also, assets versus liabilities, good debt versus bad debt. And the fourth pillar is just my baby, is my niche, which we focus on real estate investing. We teach the 4 ways that you make money. We teach terminology. We actually analyze some deals. We find some deals and analyze them. I try to keep the deals over $500,000 so we can normalize big numbers when it comes to the youth. And I'm a firm believer on not just allowing the wind to blow you in any direction. So we teach the kids how to write SMART goals so they can live a designed life. And we create some vision boards for their future and graduate them with some certificates for completion.
I love that you just said SMART goals. Like in a marketing lens, right? We do SMART goals all the time, and so many people don't understand what SMART goals are. They're just like, I just have a goal. It's out there. If it's a goal, I'm going to try to achieve it. But if it's not actionable, if it's not reasonable to achieve, if it's not a specific thing, you're never going to know where you're going. So I love that you just brought that piece up.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's big, and and it's sad because one of the things I tell all the students is everyone got goals, but you can see there's a lot of people out here that does not achieve them. And one of the reasons is because they don't know how to write them. They don't know the right way of going about them. So if we can sit here and start with this generation and get this generation over 18 and know how to create some goals and go out and achieve them, then, we're on to something.
And Lenny, what age brackets does the school serve?
Yeah, not a problem. So we look at age brackets 4th through 12th grade, and we actually go into the schools. We do keynote speaking. We do assemblies or workshops.
Wow. So you're talking to Gen Alpha and Gen Beta.
Boom, boom, and
right?
boom.
Like we're not talking about Gen Beta yet, but you are, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Incredible.
Yes. And so we opened up late 2023. 2024, we serviced over 1,723 students, and we're looking for 2025 to be over 5,000.
How do you two know each other?
Yeah, that's crazy, right? So we grew up on the same block, right in North Philly. Yeah, man, best friends for years, man, over 40-something years.
Really?
Yeah, just holding and maintaining a good, stable friendship, man.
Yeah.
So if anything, that's a podcast for another. That's an episode for another time.
But you know what? Let's just dive into that. Like as I'm getting older, I mean, it's hard to maintain friends.
That's a fact.
Like it's just getting harder and harder and harder.
To be truthful, we're not friends, man. We're brothers,
Right,
And
Really? What you mean?
No, not really.
Okay.
But we act like
I
two
get it.
brothers,
Sure.
And before that reason, we're always looking to push each other to be better. And truth be told, that's always been that way. Honestly,
fact.
Just tell you a quick story, and I'm pretty sure P. Michael's going to laugh at this one. We were probably about, 15 or 14 years old, and we did not have our driver's license yet. So it was these guys up the street that 2 guys always hung out with each other, and they just looked super cool. And we used to look at them and how they used to drive their cars. And P and I always say, man, when we get our driver's license, this is what we're going to do. We're going to act like them. We're going to be throwing the keys to each other and say who's going to drive, because they used to fight on who was going to drive. And we always just found that to be super cool. And actually, that's why I say Pete Michael said that's a podcast for another day, because we probably have 1,004 stories, to tell just through the duration of, man, I mean, from, stealing our neighbors' G.I. Joes to to now, teaching you, both of us. So, it's been an amazing ride.
Wow.
And we grew up in the wicked streets of North Philly.
Yes.
So
Right.
to grow up in North, like to put it in context for everybody, for the world that's listening, it's like Afghanistan, Iraq at wartime. But to have 2 successful young black men come up out of there, I mean, with no scratches, with our limbs still tacked to us.
No
right?
scratches? No scratches?
No, I got some scratches. I got some bumps and bruises, man. But hey, listen, I get to tell the story from this side, right? And not somebody else telling the story, man. So I think that's the blessing, man, and that's the biggest part about our friendship, is that we were definitely headed towards. Like, we had a goal, we had a beacon where we were looking at. Like, we got
You always had that
even
beacon?
back then.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Like,
Awesome.
serious.
15 years old. You had
It
that
was a
beacon.
fact.
Yeah.
I did.
Wild.
It was so much stuff we could have fell victim to,
Sure.
right? Because everything was happening, and all you had to do is just say yes. Like, come on. Like, somebody be like, "Yo, you want to take?" Yep. I'm on my way. Take this ride with you.
That
But
easy.
me and Lynn was on the tip. Like, if the goal wasn't this thing, then it ain't happening. And that thing, I could put a label. I could put a definition to that thing. We'll talk about it. Like I said, it's for a different episode, but we had a thing we was looking for. And so if it wasn't that, then it was like, nah, this just don't even make sense.
So now, did you guys manage to always keep your focus on the end goal, or were there trials and tribulations along the way? I mean, were you able to stay focused and undistracted?
It's life, you know, and everyone goes through trials and tribulations. But the great thing about P and I, we just had really great point of views, and we also, I don't know why, honestly speaking, maybe it just was a neighborhood. We just said, okay, that's the problem, let's fix it, you know, and we always face things right head on. So, you know, we had the trials and tribulations, but some people, they throw a pity party, we like to call it, right?
Yeah, man,
and P and I, we're calling each other and say, hey, dude, can you come down the street and see how I can get through this issue? And I'm calling him, hey, P, this is my issue. You know, how do I get through it? And we just always helped each other out.
Now, P, how were you in business for yourself first? I believe, is that right?
Yeah. So if you want to call like cutting hair out your house in business for yourself, yes, I was.
You got skin in the game, bro. Fuck yeah.
Let's pop the collar. Let's talk.
What year did you start doing that?
So I started cutting hair when I was 12 years old. I'm 46 years old right now. So
I would not have guessed that.
I mean,
man.
yeah, I can't do the math on that
good.
number, but yeah, I started cutting. So when I started cutting, it was more so just for me. So it was a private thing nobody really knew about. I was doing it, cutting my hair, and then eventually it caught on through the neighborhood, and people started asking me for cuts, and I was like, cool, it's just more practice. I never thought it was a business, never thought about no money, just helping some people out, and then eventually somebody gave me $3. And I was like, oh, this could turn up. Like, I see the scalability in this $3. Like, all them people I just cut could give me $3. And that was my price. And then that price went from $3 to $5. And then I started bringing in new equipment, you know, started fixing the room.
So we're talking 30 years ago. So we're talking mid-90s.
That's a fact.
Oh, yeah.
And so by the time we got to, say, the turn of the century, you were in your 20s. Were you doing this full-time?
I was doing it full-time.
Full-time.
Had a couple little odd and end jobs, but
You had a spot? You had like an actual retail? Or you still doing it out of your house?
by 2000, I was
Yeah.
working at somebody else's barbershop, man.
Yeah.
A good friend of mine too, man. Good friend of mine. Still keep in contact with him to this day. He in real estate like Len. But yeah, he gave me a chance. He gave me an opportunity to cut hair in his shop. And that just put me in a bigger platform, bigger stage, just allowing more people to come in. Because at the house, you can only bring but so many people in there. So, man, thank God for that shout out right there.
Yeah.
That was huge, man.
Yeah,
That
and
shot.
he's also underplaying this. I mean, listen, during that time, it was a very exciting time in the 90s for us. And, you know, so how it used to work was, you know, obviously he was in the barbershop. I went to work, and then when I got off of work, I'm at the barbershop. Like, all right, what time we getting off? So people in the barbershop all night cutting
that's
hair.
crazy.
Because that's how many people just really appreciated his craft.
So Lenny, you said you were at work. What was work?
So I worked at a medical billing company, and actually I worked there for over 22 years.
No shit.
Yeah, I climbed the corporate ladder, you know, from team lead all the way up to the vice president of operations. So I had a staff of over 200 people at one time, responsible for well over $1 billion in AR. To keep my job, we had to collect over $300 million annually. So, it seemed like I kept it for a while. You know, actually not too far from here, Cherry Hill, right off of, you know where the library is, off of Kings Highway.
Cherry Hill Library.
Yeah, right next door. Share the same parking lot.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yeah, but that was the mission, man. It was like, all right, I get off, I go to P shop, and we hang in there. I get to meet all these new people because I didn't know them, but they knew me now, you know. And then after that, you know, we just always just hung out.
So when did you start your business?
Man, so what happened for me is obviously I was working at this corporate job, and so, you know, you get your taxes done, and your CPA say, oh man, you know, your pay is getting eaten up by taxes. So, you know, at that point in time, I realized that I needed to start to find some write-offs. So that's where real estate investing came in. You know, and that's when really the second goal of mine, major goal, really came in. I said I was going to buy one property every year. And I did that, thank God, because after 22 years, they decided to lay me off. You know, so
Of course, you were high paid and like they're bringing someone a lot cheaper.
yeah, well, actually, they sold the business, so they needed to. Well, what happened is the original owner, he sold year 18, and I was there for another 3 years, and they was gearing to sell the business, and they had 2 VPs. So I was the VP in Cherry Hill, and there was another VP out in Franklinville, Tennessee, and she was getting paid much less than what I was getting paid. So if you know anything about sales, they obviously let me go, and they took my salary, dumped it back in, and with the multiple, it helps out.
Yeah.
So.
Let's stay chronological to help craft the narrative. So, okay, you ended up launching your business in 2023, I believe you said.
Correct.
Right? But P. Michael, you had been in business for yourself a while before that, correct?
Yeah.
At what point did you break out and start your own barbershop?
Yeah. So,
I guess formally.
formally, right? Just my own shop. So that was like about 2013, about 2013. I left my buddy's barbershop and was like, okay, it's time to do my own space. And that space was more private. So it was like the introduction to what we call salon suites. So salon suites is a thing, right? It's a thing where somebody takes a whole entire building and they bust it down into these little small suites, and they allow a barber or a beautician
Like a booth renter.
to own a space of their own with walls around it. So now it's private. It's just me, my squad, and me and my clientele, and we can have discussions about anything. So I got a space like that before it even was a thing. And I didn't even know. I thought I was like, dang, man, I'm failing in life. I got this little smaller spot. And then I started polling my clients by just asking them questions, right? Like, yo, how y'all like the spot? How y'all like this little small space? And they were like, yo, this joint is better than the shop. Like, I feel like I could bring my kids here. I could bring my wife. If she rolling with me, she could come up. I used to leave her in the car. So I'm like, yo, you've been coming to the shop for 20 years. Your wife been in the car. Like,
hilarious.
bro, I don't even bring her in. I know the shop cut through. I leave her in the car.
Right.
But they felt more comfortable with this space. So now we started talking about advancing from the neighborhood barber to more of a private space. And so I was like, oh, this guy had value to it. So let's go up on the price. And so incrementally I started going up on the price because now I'm offering you this private suite, right?
Yeah.
It's private time. And so then I started looking at business. Like I started taking like many seminars, courses, and just started really looking at other people's business model. Like doctors, I was looking at dentist business models. I was like, okay, how can I use the same tactics to do this inside this small barbershop?
So stop right there. So no formal training, no business school, anything like that.
No.
Right. But you started studying on your own. And what did you learn?
Yeah, so I learned like value, like how can I create more value for the customer, and then I learned how to leverage that value to get out more income. So that's why I was like, okay, bet I could sell these appointments. So I started making like appointments a thing, and I actually went and got a website, and I got an app that I built and was selling appointment slots, and the app allowed me to collect payment before I got the client to come in the chair. And so one of the agreements is you come late, you're gonna have to pay extra. I already got your money, right?
Yeah, well, that's
you don't
important.
show up, I get to keep
We
your
see
money.
that with this space, you really have to make sure the deal is structured so that if sorry, I'm running late, or my guest can't make it, or a multitude of other things, that causes a serious downside ripple effect on your business if they don't show up when they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Because then they don't want you to just keep the money. They want you to hold it for them. I'll come back next week, or let's rebook for later. That causes all kinds of problems. So
it's a fact. That's
so
a
that
fact.
was really key. You were collecting. You leveraged the app. I would imagine you probably white labeled something off the shelf, or did you?
No, I had a friend that I was cutting, and he was building apps, and so he was like, "Yo, P, you could." I was like, "Yeah, this is my problem." And he was like, your solution is you need to build your own app. I can show you how. And so when I built it, I sent off the certification to Apple and to Google Play Store. And then Google Play Store hit me back like probably later, but then Apple hit me back first. So my app was live on Apple first. So it was down for Apple users. Now here's the crazy part. We talking about 2013. People didn't even have, in my hood, people didn't even have credit cards. So they was like, bro, I don't even got an iTunes account to download your app.
Right.
Just hook me up. And so that brought to another part of the game. Like, all right, well, it's right here is a Rite Aid. Down the street from the barbershop is a Rite Aid. Go get one of those prepaid cards and just put $5 on it. Now you can download the app. But now you got to start putting your money digitally. Like this is what I want to start collecting because I need to start paying taxes at some point, right?
Right.
Because before it's just a hustle. Now I'm like, yo, this is
Not a legit business.
Now it's a legit business because I'm seeing other people's model, and I'm like, that's where I want to go. And then Lynn come in talking this real estate stuff, and I'm like, well, one day I'm gonna buy a piece of property just to do it because you keep saying there's something good in it. And boom, bought that property in 2016. So it was only 3 years later, I bought bought my first piece of property, honestly. And
Were you working out of that property or just an investment rental property?
no, so the goal was to just investment rental property. Man, some things turned left with me getting another shop. I wanted to get a bigger space to house. I was like, yo, I got this great idea. If what I learned I could put into others, then I can get a bigger space and start having like more people work for me. But now with this new mindset, this new renewed mindset. So the goal was to get a bigger shop and have barbers work for me and giving them the play of how to do it the right way to make more money, right? Never happened. Never got the big space. I go to sleep one night and God just like rung it in my ear. Well, actually, my wife being the smartest person in the room, right? She was like, yo, you need to build your barbershop in that space you just bought. I was like, that don't even make sense. I ain't doing that. Went to sleep, woke up, and I seen everything inside that space the way that it needed to get laid out. Called the contractors and was like, here's what we about to do. I want a light here. I want a light there. They was like, why are we putting another light right here? I said, eventually somebody else going to be cutting here, and I think it's going to be my son. At the time, my son in high school, he don't even care about barbering. He's an athlete. So I just had the vision for it. I was like, all right, I need a light over here because we're going to do facials right here. I'm going to start doing the shampoo bowl going to be here, and I'm going to put a pool table over here.
Oh, nice.
That's what I said. And the bathroom should be right there. And they started building it based off of what I gave them, man. And fast forward like a year later, it took a year for the whole thing to get together. It was apartment buildings with 3 apartments was upstairs and the barbershop was downstairs.
Wow.
This is 2014, 2015?
2016.
2016.
Yeah.
Now, you were the inspiration, it sounds like,
That's a fact.
to get the property. So had you moved on from the bill collection job?
No, so I was still there.
But you had already this is at the point where you were like, I need to start putting my money to work for myself.
You need the side hustle.
Yeah.
You need
And you talked
the
him
write-offs.
into it.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's what you do when you're friends for life. You talk them into shit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I started investing, what's this, 2025, 15, I don't know, 11, 12.
Uh-huh.
You know, and
Same, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it was same time. I was probably really started to understand the merits and importance of investing. So.
it's funny because I was just over at Camden High School and I was teaching them. I did 8 workshops over there, and with 11th and 12th graders with a concentration on house hacking. And I shared this story with them because they wanted me to come back to teach them about cash out refinances because they thought that was so cool. And I said, man, you know, when I first started investing, the properties I was looking at, they were $25,000 a property. And for whatever reason, I was trying to negotiate to get them for cheaper. And I'm like, you know, hey, give this to me for 18, give this to me for 15. So I didn't buy as many as I should. Now I took a look at the properties now. All of those properties are worth about $250,000 to $300,000. So if I would have purchased just 5 of them, I was teaching them about missed opportunity, you know, opportunity cost. And if I would have bought just 5 of them, I would have been up, I don't know, $1.2, $1.3 million, you know, right now. And not talking about all the tax benefits and not talking about all the rent collected. I'm just talking about strictly equity. You know what I mean? Which is wealth at the end of the day. So, you know, I was teaching them the power of now. Start now, because if this is what you want to do and you know the history of what real estate is going to bring, I didn't have a me that was teaching me this. It was me saying, oh, 25,000, you know, we always trying to get a discount, you know, hey, give it to me for 18, give it to me for 50. I just should have said, here's the 25. And I just should have purchased as many as I could
It's
at
the
the
old,
time.
kind of like the penny wise, dollar foolish thing, right?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hold up. Break down Pennywise Dollar Foolish. I don't know. That's your rare right past my head.
He was trying to save pennies, and he did, but the magnitude of what he could have made would have been exponentially more, dollars being worth exponentially more than the penny.
100%.
Yeah, it's a good one.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Man.
So Lenny, so for people who are watching this and they're thinking that it's too late. You'll never find another $25,000 property. What do you have to say?
Well, and I'll just preface that by saying there's a lot of people saying exactly that right now. Market's too expensive. Market's too expensive.
$500,000 just to get into the game or whatever. You know, what do you say?
Well, the thing here is this, is that you might not find a $25,000 property.
Probably not.
But you might find a $100,000 property that in 10 years is going to be worth $400,000, $500,000, and you still might be able to cash flow on the property. Obviously, take the tax advantages, and get that equity. So, and that's the power now, just understanding history. When you take a look at all these properties, I speak to my mom and I asked her how much she paid for her house. She said about $5,600. You know what I mean? Like, now the question is, are we ever going to find a property for $5,600? But guess what? I found properties at $25,000. You right? And there's going to be other people going to find it at $100,000, and there's other people going to find it at $200,000. So it's relative to the time. And with real estate, history tells us that, I like to say, real estate comes in waves. Obviously, we just coming out of the appreciation wave, and before that, it was the interest wave where borrowing money was dirt cheap, and then it's a wave. So we might take a slump and then it always rebound up over time. So, but the only way that you can catch the wave is what? By being in it. You know what I mean? And you can either do one or two things. You can either be in the wave or be watching from the sideline. And for me, I felt as though those properties I didn't purchase, I was like halfway in the wave, and the other half, I'm not, because I had the opportunity to sit there and actually purchase the properties, and I didn't, but it's a lesson that I can now teach to the youth to say, hey, don't make the mistakes that I did, because if you're going to do this real estate thing, then do it, and do it full time.
And what's their reaction when you tell them these stories? You
know what? They love it, because there's I don't know why, and I don't know what happened. But 98% of the time when I'm speaking to youth, they think of real estate agent all the time. Real estate agent, real estate agent.
Shout out to producer Jim sitting behind us.
So, right. And I have to now define that. So now, like, I've got that in every slide. Is that okay? That's the question I ask. Do anybody know the difference between an agent and a real estate investor? And I have to define that first, And once I define that and I start showing them who I am, where I was born, how I was raised. I also have 9 brothers and sisters.
Oh, wow.
Legitimate ones. Just to let you know.
Plus one at least.
Yeah. Plus my brother over here. So, and we grew up in the same house, 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home, so it was kind of challenging. And when I tell them that and they see, what I accomplished, it gives them confidence that, hey, I ain't come from no money. My mother, she didn't have any money. She had a lot of love to provide, which was more than anything that I needed. But from finances and financial literacy, unfortunately, she just didn't have that in her purse.
So I think that what a lot of people want to really know is how you guys broke out of the rat race, like how you actually did it. And we were just about getting there. So P. Michael, you had a suite, and then your brother over here started talking to you about the virtues of investing in real estate. So that sounds like was a game changer for you, the fact that you took that advice.
Yeah, but it took me a while. So he gave me this CD. Called the E-Myth. Remember the E-Myth?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Yo,
oh my God, I know
Michael
it.
Gerber, brother.
He finished reading the E-Myth. He ain't really brag about it. He was like, yo, I'm going to give you this CD and you need to listen to it.
The technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur.
I put that joint in. I couldn't stop listening to it. So every day I get out the shop, put it in my car, bang, I'm listening to this joint. I get through it like maybe week 4. Right, get through the whole entire. It was like a double CD. Get through the double CD week 4, and it hit me. And this guy was talking the stuff I needed to hear at that moment. And I'm like, I gotta see things bigger than, because right now I'm in the business, working on the business,
Technician and the manager.
I can't see it from the outside. So then I started writing down, and Lynn told me this. She was like, yo, Pete, write down all the positions that it take for you to work in the barbershop. So I wrote that. I got shampoo the hair. I did our facials. I booked the clients. I cut the hair. And he was like, and eventually your goal is to start firing yourself. And I was like, cool. He's like, put your name in all the spots. I put my name in all the spots, and I was like, I know exactly what spot I want to get fired from first. I seen it. Like, and that's the power of putting things on paper. Like he was saying, like, yo, P, put things on paper, see it in perspective. So now I'm able to see it, and I'm like, I know what needs to happen next. So the property, the buying the property thing was to eventually get some passive, what we call passive income. Mm-hmm. Ain't nothing passive about.
Okay.
Rent
all right.
property.
So for those that might not know the book,
Yeah.
And I actually never read the book, but I've had it brought up so many times that I'm pretty sure I'm clear on the premise. And in fact, at a critical juncture in my, like, I don't know, coming up, where I was starting to lean towards entrepreneurship, it was something that somebody brought up to me as well, and he summarized it for me, but I've never read it. Have you heard it or read it?
I've heard of it, never read it, but the premise makes 1,000% sense.
So my
Please summarize it.
donation to the both of you is I'm gonna purchase you guys the book.
Let's go.
Deal.
I really enjoy
love it.
people who purchase books for other people. I do that all the time.
Let's go.
I'm constantly buying books for friends. So I appreciate that.
That would be great. But could you summarize it for the audience?
Yeah, man. I mean, the biggest thing I took out the book is what P. Michael said, is that, you know, you're working in the business and not working on the business. And that right there was just mind blowing. And that's when I had to share. I'm like, oh my God, it's impossible that I can just hold on to this information. It's like a hot potato. I'm like, P, you got to take this.
And you weren't even doing the thing yet, but you knew it was.
Right. And well, obviously I was working, you know, in an organization. I was the vice president of operations. So, you know, just looking at that there and really grasping it and understanding it, and just all the things that that book just was mentioning, you know, and about McDonald's and how everything is set up in McDonald's, and how McDonald's, they have the best business in the world. From the shirts that they wear, you can identify the roles of the individuals, to everything is set up by station. You got your burger station, you got your fry station, and that place is the only place in America where you can fire someone today, hire them tomorrow, and you will not lose any business for it at all. You would not, none, zero, zilch. And this is what you see, I'm excited. And this is what the E-Myth is saying, and it's clear. It's like, you're right. And if there's a model that you want to set up, it's McDonald's. You know what I'm saying?
So what's the big takeaway there? Is it
Systems. So he was saying make it systematic.
Systems.
So McDonald's had a system, and he was like, anybody can do it. So you could be a 65-year-old that just retired, or you could be a 15-year-old high school student.
Follow
and
the
you could
playbook.
come in and make the same burger.
Yeah.
So the burger's going to taste the same everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, well, how can I create my barbershop? So then I went and I created a whole different name for the barbershop, right? I went and got an LLC.
Rebranded.
Yeah, started rebranding. So got an LLC, create a different name. And I was like, the goal is to make this a system one day that I can present to other barbershops and other barbershop owners and say, hey, we can employ this system into your shop. And so I was headed in that direction from that book.
Okay, and then so what happened?
You want to know how for real?
And I love the hook and the cliffhanger.
Yo.
We'll be right back.
So to be honest
we're
with
back.
you, so God happened. Like he took that and was like, that ain't what I'm giving that to you for. Like you gonna have to teach this. And I was like, no, I'm trying to sell it. Like, this is good. Like,
I don't want to keep it. I'm trying to unload it. I'm looking for 7 figures.
I'm looking for an exit over here, not
feel
an
me?
entrance.
I wanted to get out. I said, man, at some point I cannot be cutting hair behind this chair for the rest of my life. It's working good today. I just can't see this being a thing for the future. And then I had this kid, and I think I told you the story before, John. I had this kid.
Roughly what year?
So 2017, 2018.
Okay.
This kid come in my shop. He's losing his hair because he's going through chemotherapy. And so he's 13 years old. So he like, man, I was growing my hair out, had my waves popping, and I had to take this chemotherapy thing. And I'm like, oh man, you got cancer? Like, that's horrible. And he like, yeah, my mom said I should let it go and cut my hair off because it's starting to thin out. I'm like, Dad, okay, so Mom, you brought it for me to cut his hair. And a friend of mine came with him and was like, you know what, P? Give me the bald head first. And I was like, for real? Like, and the kid was like, you gonna get a bald head? He's like, you ever had a bald head? He said, no, but I'm gonna get one today if you gotta get it. And I thought that was honorable. So I'm cutting this guy hair, giving him a bald head, and I'm looking at the kid, and he's smiling. And I said, come here. You wanna hold these clippers and start doing it? Let me show you the process of how I'm doing it. Because it's the bald head, everybody thinks that's the easiest haircut. It is the hardest haircut because you got to clean all the hair off. And so I showed him the process I was doing. I was like, I didn't get taught this, but this is how I know that this is effective. And I'm showing him, and he started doing it. And I was like, yo, you ever want to learn how to cut? He was like, yeah. He's like, you teach me how to cut. I got 4 brothers. I'm going to cut them up. My mom got to pay me now. So I'm like, I like how you thinking. You thinking with the money, right? Like it's going to the money. I said, bet. His name was Nas. I said, all right, Nas, coming to the shop on Saturday. It's my busiest day. Every cut I do, I'm going to teach you the process. So his mom was like, well, let's slow down because he get chemotherapy on Saturdays. So he there all day. I said, all right, cool. Let's wait till the treatment finish. A couple weeks go by. I text Mom, hey, Mom, he ready? She said, oh, my God, I didn't even think to call you. Nasir died last night.
Oh, shit.
So I'm like, I'm blown away because I'm like, I'm excited to teach somebody else the thing I know how to do so well, like the back of my hand. Next thing you know, man, I'm just like bawling for tears. But I'm like, how can I find more Nas's? They got to be out here. It got to be another 13-year-old out here that want to learn the process to cutting hair.
So you were inspired. So whereas your core business that you were excited to scale and sell, the motivation was, how do I get the hell out of this eventually? And then this found you and you're like, how do I just do more of this? Because I'm passionate about it.
No, that ain't what happened.
Oh.
So I was just wanting to find another Nas. I wanted 1-on-1. Like,
It's like another apprentice. Like you wanted an apprentice?
I sort of give this to a kid and then he just be good. And threw it out there on power social media, right? Instagram is out there. I got a few followers, not a lot. And I'm like, yo, I'm just going to go like put my face on this thing and say, yo, who think this is a good idea, me teaching kids how to cut hair? And that thing lit up. That post went so... like it went viral for me.
Sure.
like 400, 500 likes, a few thousand views viral for me. I was happy. And I was like, this must be a good idea. I looked at it from a money play. All right, I was listening to this guy named Dan Henry. He was talking. He said this word.
Dan Henry.
Yeah. And so he said this term at the time. And he was like, if you can't sell it, you can't teach it. So I'm like, sell it? Oh, I got to sell this thing? And so I started building. So I went to ClickFunnels, got a ClickFunnel, and now I'm in the system. Now I'm learning marketing. I'm learning how to set up a website,
squeeze pages and tripwires.
I'm doing that as a barber. No barber in the game has ever done nothing like this, right? So now I'm sitting here building like, how can I sell it? Forget teaching the curriculum. I got it in my head. I don't have to write this down yet. I just need to sell it. So I put it out there on social media. I put the link in my bio. And 5 people hit that link, man. I was happy. I was like, yo, I got 5 sales. Like, this is amazing.
And was it a course? Like, what were you selling?
It was an in-person class.
In-person
So they had to be local.
They had to be local. And so I was like, all right, they're going to come to the shop, and now I got to teach them. Well, I was like, okay, learning this stuff through ClickFunnels, I was like, all right, I need an event first. So I did a free orientation to bring tons of people, like 50 kids came out, parents came out to the orientation. I was like, okay, this is gonna be the people I'm gonna sell to, right? These are people that's gonna buy.
You got your funnel, right?
Yeah, these are people gonna buy. Like these are
That's
buyers.
his webinar.
Yeah, that's my webinar.
Stay to the end for your free gift.
So I got this event popping, but I knew to take pictures of the event, post the pictures for anybody that didn't show up. Nobody from the event bought that day. Or bought that class. They end up buying years later. We'll talk about that down the line. But so now I got 5 people that bought it. Right? This course is like $800. I'm like, oh, I made more money than cutting today. Like, this is perfect. I'm about to teach something.
Do this every day. I'm living the good life.
Man, I could do this all the time. So
P, I need you to clarify something for me.
Let's go.
So if you're doing this in person, but it's $800, is how extensive is the time commitment to fulfill the course?
I did 2 hours for each class.
And it would be multiple classes as part of the
I did
purchase.
6 weeks.
And you would have multiple individuals in each class.
multiple individuals in each class, same group of kids in each class.
Which ends up being key, right? The ability to teach multiple folks at once.
Right.
Then cutting one person here at one time.
Right, one
And
too many.
only, and he can't give me $800 at that moment, and he's not going to give it to me week after week.
Okay, got it.
So I'm like, this is a good business model, man. I'm thinking it's going to be 13-year-old Nasir's coming in the door, and it's a 7-year-old little girl knock on the door, and I'm like, looking behind her like, where's the student at? And she got a notebook, and she like, her mom is like, I'm so sorry if we messed up, but she wanted to do this. She said, I brung my son to your orientation. He said he wanted to do it. I bought it. He bailed out. And my daughter said, I want to try it, Mom. And so I'm just asking you, would you take her? I'm like, you know what? If she want to learn, come on in.
Right.
Man, this little girl asked me a 7-year-old inquisitive little girl asked me so many questions. It built my curriculum at that time. Because the things that I thought I was going to teach was all off the table because she started asking me things that made sense to teach her. I was like, oh, I didn't even think you want to know that. And she came with a notebook. She's writing down everything I'm saying at 7. And she was so eager to cut. She was like, now when I start cutting, when I'm going to start cutting. And all the other kids, the boys, they didn't even want to touch the clippers. She wanted them in her hand, and she was like, well, who I'm cutting next? Can I cut your hair? And I was like, all right, well, then now it's hands-on. Like, we got to go active. Forget me just standing here talking to y'all about the process. Let's start doing the process, because she keep asking.
Yeah.
And she ain't going to be happy till we start cutting. And I took the foggiest photo you can ever take on an iPhone and put it on social media of our first class, and it got picked up by the Shade Room on Instagram, and it went 2 million plus views.
Whoa.
The foggiest photo you could find. This photo was trash. Like, I should have deleted it out my phone.
Still photo?
A still photo
Wow. Of you and the girl.
of the girl, not me.
The girl cutting.
The girl cutting hair.
Wow.
How in the world did that get 2 million views?
The Shade Room just got that many.
Who's the Shade Room?
What's the shade room?
Oh my gosh! So it's like NBC, but for black folks. It's like ETV or Instagram only for black folks.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the Shade Room.
All right.
So now all these people commenting, oh, that's amazing. This guy got an amazing heart. I'm like, y'all don't even know. I didn't even try.
What the
to do
hell's
this.
going on?
This wasn't the model.
Right.
So the only thing they forgot to do is they didn't at my name. So I gets no followers. Nobody know who I am. They just like, this guy's amazing, whoever he is, wherever he from.
Yeah. Oh my.
And the story that the person wrote told my name and everything, but how many people gonna read that long?
Right.
They got a click or nothing.
No, they got no clicks.
Right,
They
right.
just they ain't reading that long caption. So I thought it was a bummer. I'm like, dang, that ain't work. From a marketing standpoint, that was nothing.
Right.
Man, I went out there and said, okay, we're gonna do this again. I'm opening up the doors for anyone to run a register for the next one. And this time 10 people register. And then the next time 15 people. And the next time 20. Now, mind you, I got this little barbershop. We can't hold 20 people. We got to scale. We got to get a bigger building. And that's when the bigger building. So the bigger building wasn't allowed for me to get it when I just wanted to do a barbershop.
No, this was the plan. This was the plan.
And I ain't see this. The space was only allowed for me to get it when I wanted to do a multitude of things to help a multitude of people.
And how were you getting the word out that resulted in these registrants? Was it social
Only
media?
Instagram.
Just
Only.
Instagram. And,
Just Instagram.
and this is still 2017-ish?
This is 2018 now.
And then roughly, how many followers you have at that time?
Probably about 2,000, if that.
Wow. Okay.
The power of the internet.
Yeah.
It's powerful, man.
Well, and social media in particular. And, and that starts to get to the heart of, one of the things we really wanted to pull you guys in for, because it's easy to say create content, post content, but a lot of people are struggling to get traction with it. Yeah. So as you look back, and Lenny, we're going to get to how you're doing it as well. But as you look back, what were some of the keys? What were some of the key foundational things you were getting right that was making that work for you? Because it doesn't work for everybody like that.
It don't, man. I had a friend who was like really big on wanting to be a social media influencer, right? And he achieved that goal. And I was with him every single day. And everything he kept telling me to do, I just would do it. I'm like, it's just throwing stuff at the wall. I just threw everything he said at the wall. And then I was like, well, something got to work.
Quantity.
Quantity.
And that was key.
That was key. He was like, P, you got to post 16 times a day. That's what you got to do. Oh, they got this thing called stories and you need to be on them. And I'm like, man, I don't want to do none of this stuff. I just want to teach these kids how to cut hair. And that's it. I'm put one post out there every 4 months. And if it worked, it worked. And he was like, that ain't it. And he just kept driving it. Like, yo, you got to do this. You got to do that. So I just tried it.
So he was really teaching you the art of consistency.
That's a fact.
Because that is paramount to building a brand, right? Inconsistency is the brand killer. You post once every 4 months, you don't matter.
Yeah.
Well, you start posting every day and you start to, make yourself, insert yourself in your audience's life. Now you matter.
But the thing is, nobody tell you what to post.
Right.
Like, what do you post every day? You post a picture of your food?
Right.
Picture of your new sneaks that you about to wear? Like, nobody cares about that. So the biggest thing was post this little girl because everybody was in love with seeing her cut hair. So I started posting her. And when I post her, every news outlet in Philadelphia picked the story up and was like, we want to interview you and the little girl.
Same child.
Same child.
Yeah.
And so we stuck together for at least 2 years. So from 2018, we stuck together right up into the bump of the pandemic, and then I didn't see her no more. But we went on a media tour, right? Not on purpose, by range of God. And we went to all these stations. We went to other cities. They flew us out to other cities. We got invited to like so many big talk shows to talk about like, why is this little girl cutting hair and who is teaching her? And she got put on this show because she can say, if you met her, she just say some of the craziest things. So they put on this show called Kids Say the Darndest Things.
Oh, right.
And they wanted her. They was like, we want Kids Say the Darndest Things. We want her. And she said, I'm not doing it unless Coach P. Michael come. And they called me. It was like, unfortunately, we can't film her unless you come. She said she needs you. And so I just sat in the room, in the barbershop, just watched and so many news outlets, like smaller brands were coming up, like, we need to get this story. And this story went magnified. And that was the power of me saying, okay, now we got to make this social media thing. We got to post these things now. These things get the attraction.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. It reminds me of one of the key lessons I learned from my nonprofit marketing series we just did for Niche Marketing Podcast. And at least one of the guests on the videography, creating storytelling through video for nonprofits, he talked about how if you attempt to tell a story about a lot of people, it tends to get lost. So instead, find one individual that represents the story you're trying to tell and let the audience connect to the story of that individual, and it'll travel exponentially further.
Yeah.
But we saw that with the ALS Bucket Challenge. A lot of people have ALS, but it was that one individual in Boston who they created a story on, and then the challenge happened, and then we all remember how that went viral for that whole, I think it was the summer of 2020. I think it was the COVID summer, right? Just to go to that very point that you were talking about, like, it's hard to empathize with a ton of people with varying different stories, but there's that one person. That's something, right? There's a hook there.
So this guy, one guy, he was a marketer. He brought me in. He was like, yo, it's this thing called the Hero's Journey. I said, ooh, tell me more.
Story brand.
Miller.
This thing sound good. Tell me more about this Hero's Journey.
He knows all the books.
So I was like, man, I need to understand the concept. Never read the book, though. Don't even know nothing about the book.
Yeah, but you know the journey.
The journey he took me through. He showed me how to create a hero's journey that people want to like champion for.
Yeah, you're not the hero. You're the guy.
Not the hero.
You're the guy.
And that's what he said. He said, you cannot be the hero. Not in this one.
I that must come out of my mouth 55 times every week. Because so many brands think that they're the hero. They're here to save everyone. But I think if we reverse that and you make yourself the guide, you're Yoda in the situation and Luke Skywalker, you know, they're always going to come back to you.
That's what everybody asked. They was like, well, we see this little girl. We want her. But and that's what every news producer was asking. Who is teaching her? And that's what they wanted to know. So they picked her up. They would call her mom. They ain't had to call me. Call her mom. And wanted her on the show, but she said, I can't come unless Mr. P. Michael was there.
That's incredible.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what else during this phase did you learn about creating content and leveraging social media to build the business? What are some things that did or didn't work and lessons you still take with you today from that?
Yeah, so things that did not work in social media was assuming that just because I posted that everybody was going to see it. Like, oh, y'all didn't see my post? Like, yeah, like, P, you having another class? You didn't see my post? Like, nah, it's this thing called the algorithm. And because of that, I didn't see your post because I look at cars all day. And you ain't post nothing about a car. So then you calling me, asking me a question, and I said, I showed it to everybody. And I had to learn that you couldn't, like, this is strategy now. It's not just post, like you said, somebody tell you to just post and post content consistently. You could do that and have, I've seen people with millions of followers not get no engagement because it's all about strategy. Like, why are you posting? Why should this matter to me when I see it? So that's my thought is like, if I post something, why is this going to matter to somebody? This only matters to me, especially if I'm in it. So I was like, how can we do more posts without me? You know what I mean? So like, let's put the spotlight on the students. And the younger the student, the better. So yeah, I got a 19-year-old student here. He got a full beard. Looking older than me. But I got this 10-year-old. His name JoJo. Let's keep posting JoJo.
You getting consent from JoJo's parents?
So my waiver, as soon as you sign up, that's the first thing. I need a signature.
Yeah.
My lawyer drafted that up and was like, we need a media waiver.
Yeah.
Like, I went to sort out a lawyer. I paid thousands of dollars
Yeah.
to make sure she looked at my application process. And she was like, here's things that's missing that can cover you on the back end.
Yeah. You know, it's funny that's like it's a boring talking point. So like nobody's talking about it, but I feel like it's greatly overlooked and critically important. Right?
Well, especially when we're talking about under 18, right? Like the fact that you really need to cover your ass if you're going to be posting a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old with scissors.
But you know
like,
what?
that can be
be
taken
honest,
out of context.
Yeah.
their parents love it because their kid get to be the star of the show.
I know.
Right? Like, yo, my son, everybody seen my son. And they parents repost it because their kid is on it. Of
course.
And
It's
they
the new
family
refrigerator.
repost it. That's the key. Was like, this is not just content that I'm trying to get clickbait from. This is also reshareable content from the person and other people that say, I love the fact a kid is doing this.
Perfect segue back to Mr. Lenny the Boss.
The boss.
Lenny, you are also working with kids.
Yes.
And, you know, just because I haven't said it yet on this episode, man, I love what you're doing.
Thank you.
I mean, I love
It's
what both
needed.
of you were doing, but as a guy that's kind of a financial hobbyist, and it changed my life. Sounds like your advice helped change P. Michael's life. It did. You know, a lot of things I passed down to my brother, which I know were critically helpful and important to him. What you're doing is just absolutely amazing.
Thank you. I
man.
appreciate it.
Well, it's something that's really overlooked, and our education system, unfortunately, is broken and is not teaching it.
You know,
So let's just say it for what it is.
I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say it's broken. What I am going to say is that they have a curriculum that is aged and it needs to be updated. You know, but there's still a lot of things, in my opinion, that a school helps out with. It helps out with networking, it helps out with being on time. It helps out with actually teaching a kid on how to read, how to
Discipline.
add. So discipline, how to deal with conflict, because obviously the parents are not there. And when another student happens to throw a crayon your way, how do you react? You know, so there's a lot of things that school still deals with. And then it's me who I come and I try my best to plug those holes where, you know, all of us feel that is missing, which is a critical skill to survival, which is financial literacy. You know, I don't care if you want to work at McDonald's, open a donut shop, be an attorney, be a doctor, or open up a $250 million tech company. You are going to need financial literacy, period.
So true. It's a non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. Correct.
So how did you come up with this idea, and what was the path to actually formally forming the company and spinning this out?
You know, social media. And I'm going to tell you how. So what happened here is that obviously I trained adults forever. That was not a problem for me. And then I'm my son's football coach. He's 11, 12 years old, and I coach the kids, and we was playing a lot of flag through the years. And then we said, hey, we're going to move over to tackle. So I became one of the tackle football coaches. And if you know anything about flag versus tackle, it's like learning a new language. You have to tell the kids how many kids need to be on the field, why, where you need to stand, how to move your hands when we hike the ball, and don't remember that someone's going to punch you in the mouth while you're doing all this, right? So I found myself very successful with teaching them. I found myself knowing when to push the kids, when to hug the kids. And that gave me some sort of confidence that I can teach kids. So
it's not easy for everybody.
No.
I did the coaching thing a little bit, and like I did fine, but I was not a natural at it.
no, it's not easy at all. And for my son, he was 11 at the time. And I started thinking, how can I start to take what I know and give it to him? And if you have kids, everyone knows that your kid do not want to learn from you.
Oh my God, it's so true.
So
I feel better already. Just hearing you say that, it is so true.
So I started to think of ways, and I said, man, maybe I should teach the kids real estate. So I have a vision board at home, and I just wrote a note. I said, Lord, should I teach the kids real estate? And I put that on my vision board. Didn't think anything of it. I swear. It was 2 months later. I'm riding down the street. Me and my son, we're going somewhere. I can't even remember. And I had a bunch of money orders from some tenants that we were moving in. So I gave the money orders to my son. I said, listen, add these up so I can just run into the bank, drop them off, and then we off to do what we need to do. So when he was adding them up, I took a picture of them. And I put it out on social media. And I said, hey, try to get your kids involved in your business any way, shape, or form. Look, I have my son here adding up some money orders. And I wrote a few other things. Went to the bank, dropped the money off. We went off, did whatever we needed to do with my son. Came back maybe about 4 hours later, looked in social media, and I had about 10 messages from different parents saying I would love for my kid to learn. And that's what birthed the Kids Real Estate and Financial Literacy Academy.
Okay. And then in terms of like getting set up with, the website, the marketing, all of these types of things, was it pretty seamless, straightforward, and easy for you? Or
Well,
what was
first,
that like?
before that, I wasn't even thinking about that. I said, oh my God, I got these kids and they want. So I started to think about what do I need to do. So I called a buddy of mine. He owned a daycare. I said, dude, can I use your daycare for like 4 sessions? And I'm thinking about what to teach them. I'm big on mindset. So I don't care whatever I do. Okay. We're going to have some mindset in it. So I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to teach these kids that's 11, that's 12 mindset. I teach adults mindset and they don't even want to sit through 20 minutes. And I got 2.5 hours of mindset here. So I was nervous. And we did the first class, all about mindset. I budgeted for 5 minutes at the end of the class because I didn't think that they was going to remember anything, just to recap. And that 5 minutes turned into 25. And they was reciting all the things that I was teaching all through the class. And I almost had like a Denzel Washington tear, that one tear that dropped down my eye because I said to myself, if I can teach an 11-year-old, 12-year-old mindset, then everything else is a breeze, So, and that's how I started. So I wasn't thinking about, honestly, a website or anything like that. I just was thinking about putting the criteria together and the curriculum together to sit there and actually make sure that I have something to teach these kids and to make sure that they, take it and can run with it and to be successful with it.
That first class, did you charge them or was it just?
No. So what I did was I just said, look, I'm not going to charge anyone because obviously this is going to be my first. And I had my wife help out. My wife, she took my iPhone and she did some recording for social proof. And I just asked for everyone to donate for some pizza so I could feed them, pizza and pretzels. And we just purchased pizzas and pretzels for 4 classes, 4 2.5-hour classes. And that's how it all
2.5 hours is a lot. I do a ton of teaching, and 2.5 hours on adults is nonsense.
Start looking at the clock.
That's a
It's
lot.
only been 45 minutes.
Man, that's a lot of time.
I'm the opposite of Len. I wasn't trying to create I just, in my head, I said, I know this stuff. whatever I got to talk about, it hopefully, God, you let it come out.
Yeah.
But my thing was trying to get them in the door.
Right.
And paid.
Right. But Lenny, you're more knowledge based and you're more service based, right? You're teaching a skill. Of course, there's the entrepreneurship part and there's the mindset part, but like you're not teaching them actually how to hammer a nail to build a house,
Right.
or you're actually teaching them
The theory of
the
it.
theory, right? And like that, those are two different things.
Both necessary.
Both
and
extremely
if you got
necessary.
both, if you have theory and practical, you're a monster. And that's how the barber industry
That's
is.
right.
The barber
That's
test is based off of theory and practical. So we have to take a standard written test.
Really?
Yeah, you know how many barbers fail that? 55% that go
Yeah.
before the board fail that. I'm a barber licensed teacher now. And so now I have one of my first students that just passed. And that's what we focused on, theory. After teaching that student for over 11 years of practical, hands-on, I had to talk about the boring stuff. The stuff Lynn do in the beginning. The stuff Lenny do in the beginning. The boring stuff. The stuff that I know that's going to get me, man, he ain't coming back. If his mom say, you want to go to the joint again? He's going to say no.
Right.
I saved it all for the end. I said, I have to put this at the end. I have to front load all the fun stuff. We have to come in swinging. So when they walk in the door, they see clippers. I'm like, put them in your hand.
Of course. Right.
I don't
Now
want
it's
you to
real.
tell your mom that this ain't a good class. And then at the end, I need a testimonial. How you like the class today? I put the microphone straight in his face.
And the scissors on the other hand. You better say good.
And they're like, oh my God, best class I've ever been to. All kids need to sign up. I'm like, yeah.
But you know, it's very similar. Like I'm a musician and been playing music for years. And you know, back in the day when you would take lessons, like that first guitar lesson, like you need to hold the guitar. You need to because that's what you're signing up for. You're signing up for that experience. Then at the end, like you're not going to teach them in the beginning, you know, music theory. Like who the fuck cares at that point, you know? But you got to hold it, and like that's what's hopefully that attachment comes, and that's when to get them coming back for more.
So Lenny, you need to give all the kids an accounting ledger, it sounds like, and say, hold this accounting.
They got something better than that.
It's like a Monopoly
They
game.
got candy. They got candy. I went to his
He gave my
class.
secret sauce up.
I went to his class. I dropped in to steal something, to steal some bits. I was like, when next time you have the class, bro?
Right.
So something that occurs to me as I hear both your stories, and I don't know if you guys ever thought of it this way, but it sounds like you guys both set out to do something slightly different.
Facts.
And you kind of followed what the feedback of what you heard and what was working, and were agile to pivot into and lean into what people wanted versus what you necessarily set out to do.
Yes, for me, and no, because I understand that you 100% need to budget if you like it or not, right? And you 100% need to know what credit is if you like it or not. Now the real estate
Ignorant
piece,
is not bliss when it comes to financial
correct.
literacy.
The real estate piece is just a niche. That's what I put into my program, just in case someone else want to come out with a financial literacy piece. Then great. Then you have this real estate piece here that's bolted to the financial literacy. So teaching them that, it's funny because a lot of parents will come in and sit in on the classes as well because they want to be taught. So I always got two questions when I opened up the doors, and they always said, hey, when the classes are going to be. The second was, do you teach adults?
Right.
Because you'll be shocked on how many adults that do not have a budget.
Would not be shocked.
I mean, look, 69, percent of people live in paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
And that is a direct, correlation to two things. You're either living over your means or you have no budget,
Or in this country, probably both.
in this country, probably both, so that's a.
You started out with just real estate though, and then mindset was something at the end, right?
No. So the very first class I did was a 2.5-hour class of straight mindset. So
Right.
I'm
All
teaching
mindset.
all mindset. I'm teaching affirmations. I'm doing confident. Now in my classes, and you say 2.5 hours. So that was one of the things that the parents used to always say. And so that's what P was saying about the candy. So, there's things you have to do when it comes to age groups, and you have to keep them alive. You have to keep them wanting to be here. So how I did that was I created a point system. I said, look, I'm going to build your confidence by every time you answer a question, right or wrong, you get a point. And that point was candy in your bag, right? And if you answer the question right, you get another point. So what that did was it allowed them to, one, pay attention, and also allowed them to participate. Because at the end of each class, I say whoever has the most points in their bag gets a prize. So everyone was eager to participate. Everyone was eager to pay attention. Everyone was eager to learn, because they knew that there was a prize coming in at the end, so that really worked. And like the 2.5 hours flew by at the end of the day. I'm very high energy. And so I'm probably like on a 5 right now, which is not normal for me, just to let you know. I'm always on a 10, but, and obviously being a little animated depending on the age group to keep their attention. But 2.5 hours, I flew out to Riverside, California.
Oh, yeah.
And I did a 2-day workshop out there because I had 10 hours worth of content. And we did 2 5-hour classes, 5 hours on Saturday, 5 hours on Sunday. Everything worked out perfectly.
Because you're gamifying it,
Hey.
right?
So, what you just touched on the fact that they're finding you out in California. I know from a previous conversation that you've traveled a fair amount to do these classes. What has been the key thus far in getting the word out about this that has really worked for you from a marketing perspective?
Social media. Everything is social media.
Channel?
More specific, which channel?
Yeah, Facebook.
Facebook.
Yes, for me, Facebook and LinkedIn. So Facebook and LinkedIn has been all my business.
And Facebook, because parents are probably seeing your content.
Yes.
Right? Exennials and Gen Xers are probably seeing
And then what they do, like P. Michael was mentioning earlier, they share it. And then they might tag in like a school or a teacher or a counselor or a principal. And then next thing you know, they're reaching out, and another cool thing is I do a lot of networking. So that's how I wound up meeting you, right?
Yep.
So, and I wear this cool shirt. So I wear my own shirt and people read it. That's the first thing they do. And for whatever reason, they say that is a cool idea. So sometimes, I'm not nervous, but a lot of people are nervous with the networking thing. But by me wearing this shirt, people come up to me and open up the door versus me having to go up to someone else because they say, oh, man, what is this about? Everybody want to sit here and know. I got a quick story of something funny. So I went to this networking event. I knew probably about 2 people. And this networking event is huge. It's probably about 200-300 people there. So I see this old man from the other side of the room. He was ice grilling me. Older guy. And he's walking up to me and I'm saying to myself, oh my God, do I know this guy? Why is he looking at me this way? He walked up to me with the most serious face. He had to be in his 60s and said, you cost me $100,000.
Oh, man. Okay.
What a way to start a conversation.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here saying to myself, do I get ready to punch this guy? Or I'm getting back to
Take
my
the
North
money
Philly
and
roots, right? I'm saying, I'm running through my head, where do I know this guy from? Then he smiled. He said, where were you when my kid was little? He said, I just had to give my kid $100,000 for his house. But if you was around, you probably would have taught him to save money.
Got it.
And I thought that was funny.
incredible.
And I thought that was cool. But that was just all through the power of this logo that I have.
So he was
on my
mean mugging
shirt.
you
Yes.
because he's thinking, man, I wish I met this guy.
Yeah, he was a comical dude. They told me he's a personality type of guy, but that's the power. My shirt, going to networking events and social media. So I make sure that I take pictures. I make sure that we do some recording and, we post.
So every event you're going, making sure to capture multiple pieces of content. What's your post frequency across Facebook and LinkedIn?
So we post every day. We make sure that we post every day. And
being your personal account or a business account?
right now, my personal account.
Yeah.
And I'm actually working with a social media team to do a lot of changes. We're going to actually create an account. And I was talking to P. Michael because he's my Instagram guy, right? I said, I don't know, for whatever reason, Instagram and myself, we never had a relationship.
Sure.
we just never had a relationship. And even when I tried to open up other accounts, like I opened up a kid's real estate and financial literacy account, it got banned in 3 days. And I only put 2 posts up. And I was telling, P. Michael that I just said, I don't get it. But I'm a person who I will never give up. I'm just going to say, hey, I'm going to just constantly just post on Instagram and we're going to see what happened. And when God is ready to sit there and send someone in my life to change some things. So hopefully this individual, I'm supposed to meet up with them on Friday to do some social media stuff. And we're going to open up a new channel.
Excellent.
Page.
Open up a new page on Instagram.
Page. Yeah, I should say page.
For the Real Estate
IG.
Academy.
Yes.
I stopped posting daily and 3 and 4 times a day. I started posting like once a week.
Why?
If that, because I caught the strategy of, so I caught this thing happening on Instagram. So I would post, right? Come back a couple hours later. I'm like, yo, this joint went crickets. Like 3 people. There's no way 3 people seen this post in 4 to 5 hours. Man, I would ignore it and compound posts on top of it. Come back and that post was viral. I'm talking about 100,000. And I said, hold up. I thought it was done in the water. I forgot about it. And then I like started taking some courses and classes on Instagram, and they was like, it takes a second. Like it's all like an old car. It has to warm up. You got to put the gas on it. And so I I was like, God, intentionally, I need to let this stuff breathe so it doesn't get too far put down on the bottom of my page when it's time for people to start. They're supposed to start going crazy, 100,000, 200,000 views. I needed to kind of be on top because they only coming here for that post. And I want to make sure that post is aligned with the things I do. So it's always a barber related post, but now it's like a funny, like if I catch somebody doing something funny on barbering, I'll like make a video where I'll do a commentary,
like a
reaction video over it. I would do things like that. And I'm like, okay, that's going to bring them to the page and they're going to see I teach barbering. You know what I mean? But I don't want it to go too far down because it's still a page that I might end up putting some like stuff with me and my wife. You know what I mean?
Because it's your personal P. Michael page.
Because that's the one that got the most followers. But then I did create the subsidiaries. So for every small business I have, I created pages for them. And those posts, one page, which is the Junior Barber Academy, just an initiative, not even a full business, just the program. That page finally got like almost 5,000 followers organically. Like I don't even look at it. And I post on that thing like once a week.
So you're out of all the channels or pages that you have, you're the one in charge of posting.
Yeah. I tried to get, I had a VA virtual assistant do some posting for me, but they couldn't catch my cadence. So I was like, this thing got to feel good. And then so sometime I'll just grab the phone and start videoing, taking pictures and put it out, just throw it. I don't even care about it. Ain't no strategy behind how I'm going to do it. But then I'm like, okay, how is it tied in? Questions I always ask myself, is it tied into my mission and vision? And why would somebody care about even looking at this thing? You know what I mean? So me have to be out of it. B, I know it's barber related.
That's the clip right there.
Let me ask you a sideways question. Are either of you concerned that social media is all about a rented audience versus owning the audience?
Yes. For me, actually no, because truth be told is the way that I'm running my business now really have nothing to do with social media. And what I mean by that is I contact schools. So as long as the internet does not go down, right? I'm going to be able to sit here and contact schools and contact principals, contact counselors and talk to them. So
Cold contact?
Yes.
Through email?
Correct.
Or LinkedIn? Okay. So you didn't mention that earlier. So that's a big part of your outreach strategy. Well,
Yes.
outreach is a big part of your marketing
and that's
strategy.
fairly new. So everything to date has been through Facebook, through LinkedIn, as well as relationship based.
Yeah.
So someone who follows me, they say, oh, you know what? I know George, he's a principal over at XYZ school. I'm going to tag me in. Next thing you know, I'm having a meeting with George. George plugged me to the person that's responsible for bringing me in. Next thing you know, I'm in that school administrating some workshops.
To network, and this is why you're a natural networker, and but networking for you has been paramount to growing the business.
Yeah, absolutely. But also just Facebook as well. I mean, Facebook, like I said, social media, my neighbor, which is like, I don't know, he's might be in his 70s, late 70s, and I didn't even know we was friends on Facebook. And one day I saw him outside taking out the trash, and he walked up to me and said, I really love what you're doing. And I'm looking at him saying to myself, I don't got a clue on what he's talking about. He said,
good job taking out the trash. I really love what you do.
Right. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, this is a little weird, But then he tapped me and says, with the kids. Yeah. I said, oh, and that told me that there are so many people that see my stuff that never comment, that never like, or
just lurkers.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's another reason why I continue to post, because I don't know. There's been a lot of individuals, even in networking groups, even at events. Like I will go to an event, I buy a table, a booth there, and people will walk up to my booth and say, I saw your post. Because I post in some groups as well.
Yeah.
They say, I saw your post. That's cool, And then they might say, I know a teacher, so that's been paramount for me to ensure that I constantly post.
Yeah, I think that's a super valuable point, right? Like, just because people aren't necessarily engaging, look, we all want engagement, but just because you might not be getting a certain level of engagement doesn't mean people aren't seeing it. And sometimes it just takes those multiple touch points, and then when you finally do run into them in person, or you post that one thing that speaks to them, now all of a sudden you've got a new opportunity.
And the one thing I found funny though about social media is that you were right, plain as day. If you work in the school district, contact me. And this person would like your post, they would comment on your post, they would share your post, they work in the school district, and they would never contact you. And then somebody, let's just say, I look at their page and I say, oh, wow, they work for school. And I reach out to them on a message, and then they help you out. And, that part I never can figure out. I have hundreds of posts that say, if you work for the school district, DM me, or, something of the sort. And people will report, yeah, good job, Lenny. Way to go. You are changing your future. All these great comments. You're like, great engagement that you talk about.
Right.
But for whatever reason, something just didn't click for them to say. And I asked them. And they just say, I just didn't think you were talking to me.
Which goes to show, right? Like, I talk to so many small businesses. Like, you need to ask for the sale a little bit more, right? It's the problem on a website. Or you go to a website, StoryBrand says, don't have a learn more button. Right? What are you learning more? If someone's on your website, say, click to call me now, fill out this form, right? We really need to be explicit with our intentions. Otherwise, people are just going to say, oh, I didn't think you were talking to me.
Yeah. I take a different approach with it. So everything in my mindset behind posting is shareable content. That's the number one mindset. How can I post share-worthy content that doesn't have me as the journeyman, me as the hero? You know what I mean? And so I want everybody to see the post to see their child cutting hair with those clippers. And that's my intention. So you can't see that child cutting hair with the clippers if I'm always inside that post. Right. Or if I am in there, it got to be how I teach. How's the process to me showing how much love the child is going to get. And so every parent is going to see that's going to be my kid.
So it sounds like the story brand, the hero's journey, really stuck with you to the point where whenever you're posting on social to this day, that's really what's in the back of your head.
That's really smart.
Yeah. And now I'm getting so intentional about it. I had I was reading some newsletter the other day, and this guy was like, for events, you need to make a shareable piece of content for everybody you invite to the event, right? So people, like the guest speakers, so they can share it with their face on it. And I said, dang, I went to a bunch of events, people did that. Yeah. Like, put me at the headliner with their information all at the bottom of that post, and I always post it. So now I'm like, okay, I got to make a frame of how can I start inviting people to our Barber Academy to be a guest speaker, and then plug their picture in this frame. And now they share it.
Right. Compound effect.
Yeah. And so that I intentionally thought of that like yesterday.
Yeah.
Like I started looking at all the people that gave me a frame, gave me folks, and I'm like, okay, which one did I like that I started sharing? Because some of them was just trash. You're like, yeah, you put me on there, but all your stuff was covering me. You know what I mean? The ego stuff broken out. Yeah, you covered me up, man. But some of them was so good that I was like, ooh, you made me look good on this jump.
Are you going through or what's it called? The Instagram, like the page is curated for you. Are you going through there and searching relevant terms to see what other folks in the field of barbering are posting and what's working, what's spreading, and then taking inspiration from those posts?
On TikTok, because I wanted to dominate the TikTok thing. So I did that with TikTok. Like I'll go on there. I looked at every single keyword in the barber that you can think about barbering, haircut, hair grooming, manscaping, all this stuff, right? And I was like, let me look at what's those view counts. Let me look at these people's pages and why these got so much views, and let me just mock this stuff. Just create it with our pictures on there, our kids' pictures on there.
How'd it go?
It didn't go good because TikTok, one of those things, it's like lightning in a bottle, man. It seemed like people just hit. And when you hit, you hot. Like my son, he's 22. He's 23 now. He went viral on TikTok, just dancing. And so one of his friends, which is a kid that I mentored, he went viral by just dancing in Walmart. And he's so big that like he get flown out to all the different YouTube events, TikTok events. He making thousands and thousands of dollars a month off this thing. And all he do is dance in Walmart. He go in Walmart, go down the aisle, and just start dancing. Him and his girl, him and his best friend, and posting. Everybody know who he is on TikTok. Nobody really knows him. In the Instagram space, they say Instagram is for the uncles. They call this like that's Unc. Instagram is big Unc. TikTok is with the kids. So I poll all my students and I'll be like, yo, what's your favorite platform? And I'm talking about thousands of students I work with. I'm posting. They like TikTok. I'm like, why? They like, it's so short. Like, I don't got time to be watching a 1 minute video.
I don't have time to be watching a 1 minute video.
The people who got the most time don't got time to watch a 1 minute video. That's the fact. They need that thing hitting quick, and that's the thing that you gotta figure out how can you capture somebody's attention.
So you have 6 seconds, 4 seconds. You gotta get that hook.
Yeah.
So something just happened with my son. So we're doing this thing at the house where we're creating stuff. So like we created fresh ice cream, homemade ice cream, and now the thing this week was to make chocolate covered strawberries. So I'm like
recording it, Len?
Say it again?
This is just a thing you're doing?
No, this is just something I'm doing with my son, just some son and dad. I might just take a picture of it and say, this is what me and my son did, just to encourage individuals to do things with the kids. So I'm like, all right, I have no clue on how to make chocolate covered strawberries. So, let's hit up YouTube. And so he went to YouTube. And man, it was a 6-minute video. I'm ready. I got myself some water. I'm about to watch this 6 minutes. He clicking through, and I'm like, chill out. Like, what's the problem here? And I said this it's sad to say I went into adult mode. And I'm like, dude, this got to stop. I said, because now I understand why you don't finish things. Like, a good example, his teacher emailed him. And at the bottom of the email was a screenshot of something. And because you CC my wife, and I knew about it. So I said, oh, did you see the bottom? And he was like, no, I just scanned through. I said, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. You scan through these videos, you're going to scan through your emails. And so I'm kind of reversing that because I'm like, no, we're going to sit down and watch this from minute 1 to 6:12. This thing is over. And and we're going to do it. I said, because at the end of the day, you're going to miss a lot of things, son. If you keep scanning through this, there's a lot of things that's in here that I don't know anything. All I know is we bought some chocolate and I know that we have to melt it somehow. And there's 6 different ways to melt chocolate. And then I don't know how you're supposed to dip it, because you're supposed to dip it a certain way and you can make bow ties and all these different things. And I'm like, if you skip through this, we're going to skip lessons here. So like I said, I went to adult mode because I'm thinking this is bigger than YouTube.
Yeah.
It's bigger but it goes in line with, I don't have a minute to watch a minute video.
So the scary part, though, Len, is that society is adapting to those those young people that's having these 6-second blasts.
giving them
So
more
it's
of it.
not like they're saying we're going to keep making 1 minute, 6-minute videos. Nobody's thinking that way. People are like, well, how can I make my video shorter? And so when we look fast forward to years from now, 20 years from now, yeah, I'm teaching my son to watch these longer form videos, but eventually they're going to be extinct.
So this makes me think of the funnel, actually, and the old buyer's journey. And one of the things that we've been really experimenting with our content for the Niche Marketing Podcast is this idea of, if nobody knows who I am, then they're probably only going to be interested in the videos that are 30 seconds, 45 seconds. Because it's like, who's this dude? What's he got to say? Am I going to be entertained? You better prove it quick. But once they are interested and they've opted in, then it's like, okay, now give them the 5-minute video.
Right, now you're in the interest stage of you going down.
Right. And I find that so it's use the short form as the way to get on the radar in the first place, and then
attraction.
Make the content slowly longer as you know that they're more bought into what you're doing.
amazing.
And then once they're invested in what you're doing, they'll watch the hour-long video.
That's true.
They'll pay you $800 for the however long course.
That's true.
Right, but you need to like ladder up to it through capturing their attention slowly but surely. So that's the way we like to think
that
about
goes
it.
to my business, because you have to at some time watch something that's long, and you got to have the mindset of, I'm not going to skip, because what happens here is, if you sit here and say, hey, I'm gonna take a course on budgeting, and you're accustomed to hitting that skip button,
It's not gonna
then
work.
you're going to skip some things that's going to sit there and actually ruin your life. And then the first thing that you're going to say is, this doesn't work.
Right. It's true.
And to your point, P. Michael, in your business, if people rush the process, some fucked up haircuts are going to be coming out.
So yeah,
You can't rush the process.
you know what's crazy? I wish it was only messed up haircuts that can happen. Because we're dealing with skin, we're dealing with infectious diseases, we're dealing with, we don't know people's status, we don't know where
You have to take your
the
time and be
bacteria is
meticulous.
lying at. I scrape over a bump and I'm like, cool, no problem. I'm rushing. Next person in the chair,
Right.
scrape over your bump. I just cross-contaminated
Right.
from pus to pus
Oh, gosh.
in an open wound. What could that cause? Not a messed up haircut. You can have the sharp. Both of them got
That
the
could be
sharpest haircuts.
gangrene, and like next thing you know,
Staph
you're
infection.
Right.
That
right.
can be something else, right? Diplocoid, right? That could be a whole nother thing. And now I can mess around and transport something from one client to the next. So the theory teaches us
Scared
this.
the shit out of me, P. Michael.
And the theory is the last thing.
This is why I shaved my head. Amongst other reasons, boys.
shave your head because you're bald.
But just like Lynn is teaching it up front, the theory is the last thing all barber schools are teaching. Because they're not going to keep us. They're not going to keep the. They're going to constantly
Too
have
much attrition at that point.
they're gonna
right?
have them
Yeah.
going in and out the door. And that's what all my students, they take a real barber class, they be like, yeah, man, I had this barber class in school, but I ain't like it though. So I know I'm intentional because I'm an ADHD guy, right? Like I'm a guy that needs to be entertained all second. I'll be like, jump, dance, do something. Like that's me. So I'm like, clippers on the table, pick them up now.
Right,
Hurry
right.
up. Get your phone. Take a picture of them. Like I'm using all the tools that I know that they want, and I'm trying to overstimulate them. So then I'm at the end. I'm like, okay, now who's still with me? Who still want to do this thing? And then I got my ones, and I'm like, you're advancing to senior, to leader, and in leader role, you got to teach now. How do you teach this to him? He's 12, you 12, and now they like, cool. I'm gonna take him through the process that you taught me. Yeah, you need more tools though. Let's go through theory. And now they want theory because they like, Mr. P, I love this teaching thing. I don't know why this thing feel good. Because they feel like they're the leader. And now I'm like, you need to learn theory. In order to teach, you got to know how to talk about it while he's doing it now. You no longer doing it. And now I can plug the theory piece in. I can't just, it's like, you got to give it to him. But what's the movie, Blue Street? You can't just give it to him. Yeah. Oh, y'all ain't seen the movie Blue Street?
Nah.
Oh my God, Martin Lawrence and Dave Chappelle.
David Chappelle, yeah.
man,
This
that
is
sounds
before
great. Yo.
David Chappelle was David Chappelle.
Yo, so
yeah.
Martin and Dave knew each other
So
for the
this is
streets.
Half-baked Dave Chappelle.
Yes.
So Martin-
That's my favorite Dave
Blue
Chappelle.
Street. Oh my God.
Martin and Dave knew each other for the streets.
Yes.
So Martin is posing as a cop. So they think he a detective. So he pull up to this scene where somebody's like robbing the bank, right? And so Dave Chappelle come out. He like, Telly. He like, man, what you doing here? He like, chill, I'm on something. He like, but I'm gonna need you to give me the gun. So Dave Chappelle like, here, take it. He like, no, you can't just give it to me in front of them. I gotta take it from you. Gotta punch it. So that's how I'm like with the kids. Like, you can't just give it to them. You gotta like want them to take it from you almost.
Right,
Like,
right.
I want theory.
Right.
Why you want
I
theory?
want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of the old like take the sale away type situation, right?
Talk about that.
Well, you always talk about it, so you take.
Well, I mean, I think at some point, if you are negotiating and you need the leverage, you just say, well, maybe the sale isn't right for you. Maybe you're not up to that level. You take the sale away. So psychologically, they're like, no, I do want this. I need this. You don't know me. I'll pay double for it or whatever, right? And, now you just made the sale. So it's just like an old kind of salesman trick, I suppose, right?
Or-
So that's
I mean-
psychology, bro.
It's reverse psychology.
I love it, man.
Well, sales is psychology.
Sales is 100%
But all
psychology.
the teaching is psychology. Like if you don't
Right.
use psychology methods in your teaching style, you're gonna miss a lot of people. Like
Yeah.
I know when I come in the door, if I start talking all this high level tier 3 words to some students, they're gonna look at me like, man, get this dude out. If I come in wearing the clothes that I really like to wear, I like Kohans, right? Comfortable shoe, go with everything. I wear some Kohans. I could put on some nice little slacks. Man, I could be good. But ain't no kid gonna listen to what I gotta say because I present it wrong. So I gotta come in with the J's because I got the J's in the closet, right?
Those are
I
tight.
gotta come in with the stuff that they look like because I gotta appear to be like them. Even
Yeah.
though I got some gray strands up there, right? A lot in the beard, they don't even see it.
Well,
'Cause
it's
they-
relatable, right? It's authentic. It's relatable, and
And
at
I'm
the end of the
not
day,
talking.
social is yes, it's a technology, but it's human beings, right? You're talking to human beings. Human beings want to be entertained. They want to be educated. They want to see how the sausage is made.
Yeah, and
right?
you got to know the culture. You got to know where you go. So I travel the world, right? And I go to all these different countries. And one of the things that you can do in every country, and I do this in every country, I learn how to say hello, I learn how to say thank you and goodbye. And if I learn just those, you might think I know your language. If I greet you in your language, and I become fluent at greeting you in your language, and then I say thank you after I receive something, you might think I know it, and you'll calm down on talking like your language while I'm inside the building. Like that, he must around know it. Like, you know what I mean? So that's my thing. But that's the thing you do in schools. When you go to the kids, you got to learn their language. So
Yeah.
I'm taking time, I'm studying it, I'm learning what they saying. I went in this one school, this a couple years back, and this kid was like, I was telling him how to cut. I was like, yeah, man, because you might not, I was telling him about emotional intelligence, right? And I was like, you need to know if your emotions are in check, if you are ready to cut hair that day, because you might not want to cut everybody. And he was like, yeah, I definitely don't want to cut no NPCs. So I was like, I was cutting Lenny's son. So I was like, his wife brought his son into the door. I was like, yeah, these kids were talking about NPCs. LJ just was like, yeah, non-player character. I was like,
what the hell is an
I was like, hold up,
NPC?
you know what an NPC is? He was like, everybody know what an NPC is. I'm like, nephew, tell me. Because I just told the kid, yeah, like an NPC, like I knew what he was talking about. But what he was saying was like on these certain games, they got these characters that don't really play in the game. They just be there. You can bump them, they kind of walk around. And this kid was trying to say like, I ain't going to want to cut one of them. I'm only going to want to cut a main character. And he was like, so when I'm having a bad day, I'll go out and get the money from a main character, but I ain't getting it from no NPC. And I was like, all right, I'm taking that to every school I go into. So
Right.
now when I take it to the schools, they like, yeah, Mr. P on it. He know the NPC. So I'm talking their language, and they're falling in love with the personality, the character
Yeah.
that you mentioned. So I'm playing a role into this character. I'm dressing up as the character. I'm talking like the character, but I got a lot of sense and a lot of knowledge that I want to give you, but I can't just give it to you.
No. You have to meet them on their level.
And I got to let it seep out, and you got to take it from me. You know what I mean? And now sometimes I get into the place where I don't have that much time with these children, and I never get to give them the real gas, the real sauce. But this the big thing. You got to follow me on social media, because I'm going to do podcasts like this and repost it, and the big sauce going to be in there.
So with the time we have left, where is JBA today, and where do you see it headed here over the next couple of years?
Yeah, so just growing it into other countries more so than cities. I think the United States is amazing, right? And we're going to keep growing and building in Philadelphia. But I want to tap into other countries that don't have the privilege of education. So in Africa, in South Africa, they don't have a barber school. They don't have a barber certification. They don't have a license to become a barber. And so education is missing. I went into so many barbershops all over the world. Egypt, been in barbershops all over Europe. Europe is a lot more advanced. But when we talk about Africa, we talking about one clipper on the station. And I seen a razor that looked like it was used on everybody. And I was like, this ain't cool. But they bandaging, they getting through. And I'm like, y'all just need education. And they don't respect the craft. They're not making money because it's not an education model behind it. And it's not like they don't know the business side. They just know how to do the craft. So if I build the universities there, build the academies there, then we're raising them up from children, knowing how to make this a business. So I'm like sending these agents out, these little agents out on like, yo, you're going to learn how to cut, but you're going to also learn how to be a savvy businessman with this.
Yeah.
Well, and that starts to get into, your skill set. Have you guys talked about
Worlds colliding?
right? Like now you're going to launch your own barbershop, but you need to know how to get the building, how to do the finances of it. I'm sure you guys have explored this.
Actually, no, but it's coming.
Yeah,
You know, so we have done.
We have a
things
timestamp just so everyone's aware.
Yeah, it's coming, and it's funny that you say that because that's true. Is that we have everything kind of buttoned up. So I guess one day we're going to make this a one-stop shop. You come here and you're going to come out ready to go. You may tag your brother in to go find a property.
There you go. We will.
Producer Jim.
And then so for you, Lenny, where are you at now and where you head over the next couple of years?
Yeah, man. So, this year, we're just focusing just on more schools, just getting into more schools, getting into more youth groups and, doing more workshops. I mean, I just got offered a teacher position over at a school. I'm not sure if I'm going to take it or not, but it's great to know that I'm being valued. And once again, that's from social media. Someone tagged me and say, this guy's doing some amazing things. They researched me, called me in, and offered me a role. They're actually waiting for me to send them back how much I charged them, so I think that's pretty cool. But I guess for 2025 and 2026 is really just about establishing more schools and getting into more schools, getting in front of more students.
Have you figured out that way to start to replace yourself, the old E-Myth?
No, because honestly speaking, I'm still figuring out strategy on how to contact schools, because what's happening here is that I'm used to, all right, you contact someone, you go through a process, you document that process, you try it again, it's successful, then guess what? You boilerplate it, right? Well, I'm learning that in schools that does not work, because I can go to a school in the same school district, 2 elementary schools, 4 miles from one another. And the person I need to speak to at school A is going to be the principal. And the person I need to speak to at school B is the counselor. So I'm still in a lot of learning stages. And, so this 2025 is really putting a system in place to reach out, and gain these leads. So I'm always putting in, leads. So it comes through the pipeline. And obviously the more leads you have, I think you mentioned it earlier, the more leads you have, obviously they start turning over.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we certainly have some thoughts around how to address that. So let's make sure we talk offline about
Sounds
it.
good.
All right.
All right.
Lenny, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do so?
Yeah, man. You can follow me on social media. You can look up Lenny the Boss. You can look up Lenny the Boss on Facebook, on Instagram, or you can go to my website, which is kidsrealestateacademy.com. Again, kidsrealestateacademy.com. Or you can follow me on LinkedIn, Leonard Nesmith. That's Leonard Nesmith, Nesmith.
Awesome. P. Michael, folks want to get in touch with you, learn more about JBA. What's the best way to do that?
Hey, man, P. Michael _ on Instagram. And, of course, we got the website, pmichael.org. That's the nonprofit. But we got the Junior Barber Academy website.com. And that's spelled out the full word junior. Now, we about to shorten that because we understand attention span is strong, right? Mm-hmm. So I already own the domain of jbaway.com. And then eventually we're going to start putting everything over on jbaway.com. It's only 6 letters. It's gonna be super easy.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, both you guys are doing amazing work.
Incredible.
Working with the community. Your stories are really inspiring, and hopefully other folks looking to spin off a nonprofit or impact-oriented business can learn some things from what you guys told us today. So thank you so much for sharing, guys.
Hey, thanks for having
Thank
us.
you. Thanks a lot, y'all.
Appreciate it.